Good morning, Michael Feller here on Deals TV. It's Wednesday the 14th of October and this morning we have stories on Boral, Transurban, the New South Wales power privatisation process and George Soros. First off, there's rumours that Boral could raise between $300 and $400 million. The share price surged earlier this week and talk in the market is of a raising around that figure. Also in the capital raising rumour file, Transurban could buy Lane Cove Tunnel, it's believed, and if so, they would have to raise a substantial amount of capital to finance that acquisition. Also, companies that could raise capital are Origin and AGL Energy, if indeed they're interested in buying the assets of the New South Wales government. They're privatising its power assets, roughly divided into the Gentrader businesses, which trade wholesale electricity, and then there's the retail divisions, Country Energy and so on and so forth. It's said in the Financial Review that there's not much interest from overseas. The New South government refutes that assertion, saying that there is strong bidder interest, but they would say that, wouldn't they? And the New South Wales government isn't exactly high in the credibility stakes these days, at least in popular political opinion. Moving on now to other stories in the energy area. ConocoPhillips has effectively said that it doesn't see as much upside in coal seam gas as it does liquefied natural gas. That's all to do with calorific levels, heat production and so forth in coal seam gas. The Japanese utilities were effectively saying the same thing, but then again, Tokyo Power, of course, then invested in coal seam gas. So who knows? It's possibly still just as prospective as the bulls would have it. Moving on now to other stories in the resources space. George Soros has invested in Platinum Australia as part of its capital raising. Soros already has stakes in Sphere and Marengo, a copper producer. And if anyone's going to follow the guru as a trading strategy, George Soros knows a thing or two about investing, and of course he used to be partnered with Jim Rogers, who is another commodities guru, and the two men have made a lot of money in the past out of various commodities, as well as more famous bets on things like the shorting of the British pound and shorting of currencies right before the Asian financial crisis in 1997. In other stories around the resources space, Rusal, there's talk that they may sell their Queensland assets to Chinalco, meaning that Chinalco would be more involved with Rio Tinto than ever. Also talk, of course, that Ivanhoe Mines in Mongolia may sell part or all of its stake to Chinalco, which of course means that Chinalco would be working with Rio Tinto on that major copper-gold project in Mongolia. Overseas now, Cisco, the internet company, acquired or made a bid last night for Starent Networks, so that's worth $2.9 billion US, and a consortium of investors in Hong Kong acquired American International Group's Taiwan assets for $2.15 billion. American International, AIG, is of course has been of course in a lot of trouble and has been selling down its assets in Asia and spinning off other assets into the new AIA group. Speaking of Asian finance, DBS, the Singaporean bank, has reportedly dropped out of bids for ING Private. RBS Coutts, the bank to the Queen, has seen 70 people in its Singaporean office, that's approximately 1/3 of staff, leave to join the Swiss banker BSI. There's been a lot of movements in private banking in Asia, and perhaps it's for that reason why ANZ decided not to participate in ING's asset sales process, even though ANZ, of course, has been involved in acquiring assets of RBS in more traditional commercial and retail banking. Private banking has a lot of risk, according to many observers, and the upside isn't as great. Perhaps it's best to be left for specialists such as Julius Baer, who bought the assets of ING in Switzerland just a couple of weeks ago. Anyway, that's all we've got time for this morning. I'll see you tomorrow.